Hey, this is Brian from Provision Studios, and here today we have the Canon VIXIA HF G60 and the Sony FDR-AX53 4K camcorders in a low light situation. They are both in full auto mode, so there's really nothing I can change on either camera that will allow me to modify their setting for this shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the lighting in the room, and maybe we'll be able to see how the cameras respond. So the only thing in the room right now for light is an overhead room light, and I'm going the bulbs that are in the light are dimmable, so I'm going to turn them down and see how the cameras react to what's going on there. We are at 1080p, 24 frames per second, full auto mode in both cameras. The white balance is full auto as well, so this really is the camera's sensor making the shot the best it can. So all right, let me start dimming these lights. Okay, there's one notch down. And I did not see any adjustment on the AX53. Let me go down one more. Okay. The AX53 is almost black now. Very interesting. All right, so I'm going to do the reverse now. I'm going to start stepping the light back up so we can see how the cameras respond. All right, I'm beginning to see something on the AX53 on the display. Before it was completely black on the last setting. The G60 looks fine. And then there's full light. That's the light at its brightest in the room. So let's see if I can go one more. I hope not. Yeah, so I got basically three levels of light I can dim. So the AX53 looks a little dark on the display, and the G60 looks really nice, which is what I would expect here in low light, because the G60 has a 1-inch sensor and the AX53 has a close to a 1/2-inch sensor. So that's really what we're seeing here. I'm going to put on the G50 and try to do the same auto setting test with it and the G60, and make one video out of all this. So it's going to be, right now this is the AX53 against the G60, and then the second half of this video is going to be the G50 against the G60. All right, so let's switch over to that footage now. All right, so here we are back with a low light test. This is the Canon VIXIA HF G50 and the Canon VIXIA HF G60, both in full auto mode. We are shooting at 1080p at 24 frames per second. I would like to say that the Canons shoot at 35 megabits per second at the 1080p 24 frames per second resolution. The Sony FDR-AX53 shoots at 50 megabits per second in this same resolution. So figured I'd point that out. Anyway, both images look really nice right now on the displays. So I'm going to start stepping down my my overhead light and see, how the cameras respond. So there we go. Step down a little bit. And I can go down one more from here. So let's just wait a second. Let us look at this footage here. And then let me go one more. Okay. So there you go. The the G50 display looks very dark, and the G60 looks better. So again, we're talking about a 1/2 inch sensor on the G50 and a 1 inch sensor on the G60, and this is where you're going to see that sensor difference show up probably the most, when we are in like low light situations, and you really don't have any control of the light. You sort of are relying on the camera to make up the difference, so you can still capture the shot. So I think I haven't looked at the footage. I'm looking at the display. So, but I think what I'm seeing on the display speaks for itself, based upon what I'm seeing. So all right, I'm going to do a G50 against an AX53. I have done this test before, but not with this setup, where I'm using an overhead light that I can, dim, and then see how the cameras respond to that the light intensity. So let me go back. Let me step the light back up like I did previously, so we can see how both cameras readjust to brighter lighting. All right, so here's here. This is the low setting. I'm going to go to the middle setting. All right, so there we are. Both images look pretty similar on the displays of the two cameras. And I'm going to go up to my highest setting on my light. There we are. So that's the highest setting I have on my overhead light. I normally keep it here. I normally keep my light right there when I'm out in the studio. I very rarely have it full bright like that. But I wanted you guys to see how these cameras both respond to that lighting situation. Again, we are in full auto mode on both the G50 and the G60 here. High, middle, low setting. Full auto mode, 1080p, 24 frames per second, 35 megabits per second. All right, there you go. All right, let me make a switch real quick, and I'm going to do a G50 versus AX53, same test. All right, here we are with the AX53, Sony FDR-AX53, and the Canon VIXIA HF G60. These cameras are both in full auto mode. The AX53 only has auto mode. And we are at 1080p, 24 frames per second. The G50 is at 35 megabits per second, and the Sony AX53 is at 50 megabits per second. And on my overhead room light, I am at my brightest level. I'm going to go step it down one level to my middle setting, so we can see how both cameras respond. All right, that is my middle light setting here in the room, so we can see what's going on there. And then here I'm going to go down to my lowest setting on my overhead light. So there we go. The AX53 looks completely black. I can't see anything on the display. And the G50 looks like I can see some detail. I can see some whites in the flag. I can see a little bit, and that's not a flag, that's actually a blanket. So I don't want anyone to say, hey, your flag's touching the floor. This is actually just a patriotic blanket that I use to hang on my wall when I have drummers and sort of use it for dampening. Anyway, don't want to go there today. So there you can see the results in extremely low light. I'm gonna step up one level to my middle light setting and see what we get there. So that's the middle setting. You can see what cameras are, how they are responding to the light change. And I'm about to go back up to the full light on my overhead. So there we are. That is my brightest setting I have on my overhead room light. So we can see how both cameras respond to that light there. Again, both cameras are in full auto mode. We are at 1/48 shutter. We are at 1080p 24 frames per second. Full auto mode, auto white balance, auto everything. The resolution and shutter speed are the only things that I have set on these cameras, so they all match there. But they are all three cameras in this test were in their auto mode setting. So that's it. I'm gonna step through this one more time. High, mid, and low. Mid, high. All right, there you go. Let's go take a look at the footage.